Welcoming all of our viewers to International Affairs, being broadcasted here at the SATV's Gulshan studio on a public holiday. Of course, the birthday of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. As we continue the show here on the program, let me introduce my panel before stripping down the details of the discussion today. Here in the studio, I have Associate Professor Rashid Alambuya, hailing from Dhaka University. I welcome you on to the program. Alongside, we will definitely see Norman Floyd Barnes joining us on the program from Washington District of Columbia. I want to begin the discussion today with Norman Floyd Barnes. Some of the media outlets from all around the world are stating regards to Canada and the United States. Donald Trump, the U.S. president, is considering naming Lake Ontario to Lake America, which Canadians say the threat to change the name of the lake is quite unnecessary. On the other side, China is urging U.S. not to disrupt its cooperation with Iran amid the fresh D-Day sanctions that we see coming from the United States administration. I want to pass it to you, Norman. What are some of the updates you have for us on the 26th of August as of today? How are the affairs standing all the way in the United States? A very good morning to you, Norman.
Good early morning to you from Washington. Today, the United States, we are mourning the loss of country music icon Dolly Parton. She passed away at age 80, and so that is again a loss to the music industry, and she did a lot of work here in her family to underprivileged families and causes to help the underserved. On the other side, Canada and the United States are engaged in this tit-to-tat tariff back and forth. Tariffs is now affecting both the Great North and the United States. Both the Prime Minister and our President are threatening each other, saying we're at war. We're gonna increase the tariffs from Canada to the United States and United States to Canada. So we had a turf war, and of course, the victims are the citizens of both sides. We're expecting increased prices in the normal stuff that we buy from Canada. In Canada, the same thing. So again, the citizens have to bear the brunt of our worldly leaders. Also, the conversation is still going on with Iran. Again, a tit-to-tat back and forth. Iran stated that, we don't expect us to be defensive in regards to this new wave of tariffs, this new wave of sanctions. Iran stated that you can expect us to be offensive, meaning we will attack the United States at some point. What that means, we have no idea. How that outcome is going to affect our government, how we do things, we don't know. But again, the citizens always endure the inflictions and the decisions of our leaders. So these are the things that's going on today. More and more rhetoric, more and more back and forth, more and more in prices increasing, more and more stress on the normal American people not knowing what tomorrow is going to bring and if they can afford it.
Right. Excellent beginning to the program from Norman Floyd Barnes. Our humble and sincere condolences to the late legendary musician and philanthropist Dolly Parton, who had battled cancer and had departed this life at the age of 80. But coming to the situation that we see between Canada and the United States, in the studio with Professor Rashid Alambuya, we see that it has been one-off action, a tit-for-tat kind of reaction between U.S. and Canada. Yesterday, we were talking about U.S. President Donald Trump and his commentary, which blatantly says that Canada has been ripping off out of the American common folk, and that is what Canada has responded with. It has definitely responded with counter tariffs on more than 700 products worth over $19.9 billion of goods, and it is set to take place as early as September 8th as the talks between the two nations has collapsed. I want to pass it to you how you see this economic issue that is appearing right next door to the United States of America amidst the worldwide D-Day sanctions for any nation that would be seen doing business, doing trade, and have finances with Iran. What is your assessment?
Thank you so much for bringing into that issues. You know, this is actually the Donald Trump unilateral trade war that he initiated when he came into power in the second term. So this is a legacy of that ongoing trade impasse and trade battle he has initiated. So, you know, Canada has been very neighborly countries to UK, US, and have been very much dependency between the two countries, particularly the importers and exporters. So, US unnecessary this trade war, which they actually I mean, the way they trade liberalization was their main agenda in earlier terms. Earlier US economists and US presidents, they used to liberate the economy. But nowadays, after Trump came into power, we have seen total opposite development. So this kind of trade blockage, tariff imposing tariffs and non-tariff barriers into trading issues, ultimately punishing the normal American and Canadian as well. So it will actually increase the cost of trading, and ultimately the price and inflation goes up. So that's how, like you say, impose taxes on the Canadian petroleum products, steel products, and those things. And on the other hand, Canada imposes taxes on the retaliatory taxes on the US goods and services, and that used to come into Canada. So ultimately it's an impasse which after the Iran, US and Israel war, this is another US madness that gonna be hurting normal US citizens, because they are already facing enormous inflation, enormous economic struggles for their life, everyday life. So if that new trade war began with the Canada, that further actually deteriorate their economic situation. And secondly, the fresh sanction on Iran, like as I said, the Operation Epic Fury now transformed into Operation Economic Outcast. So that's Scott Bessent on the 24th of August. He announced that the countries which have supporting Iran in an economic lifeline, particularly exporting and importing or trading with Iran, right, they're going to be also punished by this new sanction. So ultimately, the countries like Iraq, UAE, Oman, Pakistan, they're going to be targeted by this. I mean, not only Iran, but these countries also will be impacted by this new economic sanction, because you know Iraq has heavily depended on Iranian side for the fresh food and fruits and other consumer goods that supposed to be exported from Iran. And Iran usually $10 billion export import take place from Iran to Iraq. So that's how, and so US earlier cancelled shipment of $500 million US, which supposed to come in Iraq bank in sometimes April, May, but because this dollar actually going to Iran because of through the export of trade and goods, and the consumer goods. So that's how they try to stopping those currencies that, you know, after the 2000 Iraq war, US totally controlling Iraqian oil revenues that is actually deposited into US Federal Reserve Bank. So that is how they're controlling the Iraqis economies that way. So the 2003 when George W. Bush initiated that war, it was called Operation Iraqi Freedom. But ultimately, that we have heard that the Iraqian economic freedom has been completely taken by USA by channeling those oil reserves money, oil revenue money into US Federal Bank. So that's American standard. That's how they want to colonize, new types of colonization in this modern world. So I think Iran is not stressed up with this new American policy, because Iran has been fighting with this kind of economic sanction in the last 40 or 50 years. So right, Iran know how to divert, how to raise. They have the resilience capacity. So I think after this hard work, this soft economic transaction, software or soft measures like the tariff or tax barriers doesn't cost much to the Iranian. I mean, they already know how to survive and how to become resilient, even those US imposing this kind of hard economic measures.
Right. Excellent recap of the situation in the Middle East by Associate Professor Rashid Alam. Really, we see that over 700 products are going to be affected, which range from the steel and aluminium industry, dairy, appliance, agricultural equipment, pulp and paper, plastics and electronics sectors between the US and Canada. So Canada is definitely pursuant on its counter tariffs against the United States amidst the Donald Trump stating the US president is referring to Prime Minister Mark Carney as Governor Carney, echoing long-standing remarks about annexing Canada as the 51st state, a lot of which this discussion would require the last several years of friendship between Canada and the US. Right now, the United States remain in a very difficult position, observing and implying sanctions on any country that does trade with Iran. This is definitely a different move than blowing Iran to smithereens. I want to ask Norman Floyd Barnes, the issue with Canada, as we have been reciting here in the studio, how you feel it is going to pinch the consumers in the US. Of course, a lot of let me give you an example. Canada is the largest purchaser of US-made cars, which could put pressure on American car makers who rely on Canada's demand. So with that being said, I want to pass it to you, Norman, how you believe the future of the relations between Canada and the United States.
Yes, my assessment is that the relationships has been damaged, it's been fractured for some period of time. Uh, what we have now is a trust issue. It appears that trust, increasingly trust between nations is fading away. So right now, if you're out there, you're looking at the situation with the United States and Canada, and Canada has been a friend, a good neighbor for many years. Uh, so the question comes up is why? Why now? Why this date, the 26th of August? Why are we doing this? We have midterms coming up. We have a war, and we have a situation in Iran. There's other situations in Ukraine. We have issues still going on with the Palestinian and Israeli issue, and then we have issues with nature. We have weather issues. The question is why now? What is the point of doing it now? Why are we looking at fighting wars, the United States, with countries on the north, our friend, and also other countries of the world, and this constant back and forth? We're going to take over this, we're going to change this, or we're going to demean you, we're going to talk down at this. It's very amateuristic, childish, and it has tones of basically of disrespect. And so what we're losing right now is the past respect we have for our neighbors, past we have respect for the other people, is now looked at in a part of the world as I looked at as a loss to this country, the United States, our relationships, the way we treat people. Who is an ally? The question is now, are our current allies really our allies, or are they the next victim, or are they the next step? So what is really going on? The question is why all of this is happening now. We're coming to the end of this year. We got critical election points. And my question still is, why is it going on now? The timing is very suspect. The people of the United States, the people of other parts of the world are suffering. They will continue to suffer. We got winter coming. So that's going to
Right.
have effect on what's going on. So what is the expected outcome of this? How do we get a win? How does the world get a win? Right now, we're seeing losses, and we're looking at going into 2027 with additional losses. So there's no real advantage right now anywhere in the world. We see more and more increasing. There'll be more of what we're doing now, January, February next year. The same thing going on. No one is content on solving any problems. No one's content of creating a stable environment. Everybody wants to change. So right now we're looking at a transition. Uh, you know, uh, the USA, if you support Iran, we're going to cut off the petrodollar to you, the use of the funds. So there's no rules that I have to buy from the United States or any other country. There's no rules saying that I have to support Iran. There's no rules that Canada can't sell its stuff to other people. There's no rule that we have to use the American dollar to buy anything. There's
Right.
other ways of purchasing things. The petrodollar is not the only way people can make deals. People are making deals. I can guarantee you right now there are many backdoor deals that is going on
Right.
and will continue to go on. So yes, it's going to hurt the consumer, but the parties, the governments, the leaders, the I call conspirators to this is looking at ways of making uh, profit on the stress and the whims of the normal people. So right now I'm very questioning exactly the timing of this. Uh, there will be no miracle come and save the day situation this year. There'll be more and more hardship and more pressure on the consumer to basically keep pace with what's going on, while certain people are increasing their profits.
Right. A
That's
very
my
emotional
assessment.
response, I would say, coming from Norman Floyd Barnes, really feeling some of the pinch that is coming, that you feel on a daily basis. An important statement from Norman that I have taken, I have heard. The way we treat people, it is very important, as Norman pointed it out, that is the exact way people will treat us. I believe that is a tit for tat, if not a reaction has a adverse and opposite reaction. Every action, as I was stating. Excellent response by Norman Floyd Barnes. It's time to take a short commercial break. Afterwards, we will be looking at some of the issues that still pertain to the Middle East, definitely looking at the Strait of Hormuz, as well as Oman and Iran's ties as of recent. Ladies and gentlemen, do stay tuned for more on this very program. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Panta.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan
opening an open war conflict with them.
Testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing.
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV's screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
With President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Panta.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan.
Opening an open war conflict with them.
testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing.
Special and exclusive footage that is.
Welcoming our viewers back onto International Affairs. Here in the studio, I'm joined with Associate Professor Rashid Al-Lambuya, while we have Norman Floyd Barnes all the way from Washington, District of Columbia. We were definitely in talks regarding the U.S. position in terms with Canada, as well as the various situations we see in the Middle East, and that is what we are going to discuss about with Professor Rashid Al-Lambuya in the studio. We were definitely talking about China and how China feels about the recent D-Day sanctions economic outcast released by the United States. China is a key customer of Iranian oil and advocated for a ceasefire, insisting that U.S. should not pursue this kind of means. I want to pass it to you, Rashid Al-Lambuya. China seems to be the emerging power in the global order, definitely in the face of an established power, the United States of America. How you feel this kind of story, especially as it appears now?
So China was very critical of U.S. current position, putting more pressure on Iran, particularly this economic D-Day sanction you said. It's because U.S. has said it will be also targeting those countries who are giving economic lifeline to Iran. So after failing to defeat Iran through the war, through bombing, they are now once again going back to the original formula, like targeting the economic punitive sanction, which ultimately punishing the Iranian citizenry, Iranian people. They are very fed up with the Iranian people why they didn't revolt. We can understand that. They were expected that after this war started, Iranian people will come into the street and they will take out the regime, but that didn't happen. So that's why U.S. regime and Scott Bessent on the other day actually putting this punitive economic sanction is another, U.S. Unilateral way of punishing the Iranian normal citizenry, normal people. Iranian economy is already affected by this war. There are the people who actually suffered by the high inflation of the food prices and everything, but yet Iranian people are very much united for their countries because they know this is an unjust war, unprovoked war that initiated by the USA. So Iranian citizens are very much supporting their regime, although their economic hardship is there, but they didn't revolt against the regime. Rather, they were very much skeptical and very much opposing the US ongoing war. So I think Russia's position is very clear. Russia is continuously, Iran and Russia has a very close allies, and that's alignment. Even Iran, although this economic sanction is targeting any countries which dealing with the Iran economic, trading and importing with Iran. But I think Iran and China, they know how to deal with these issues. They had the experience of in the last 40 years of doing this or navigating how this kind of economic sanction. I think Iran might be willing to transact in yuan, like the Chinese currency, and they can also maybe go opt for product exchange, like barter system you said. Yeah, so that can easily be done. I think although US is putting their navigation, like which countries are supporting Iran, but I think in the world of Iran has a very much good geopolitical position. Like it's not only depend on its waterways, but it has a border with more than a dozen countries, so they can easily navigate. I think, although there are some stresses, but I hope they will be able to navigate this punitive economic sanction. And I think U.S. policies will be failed ultimately because U.S. own citizen doesn't supporting this war. When your own citizen not supporting your war, so what is the point of doing that war? So that is ultimately, unilateral Trump madness in U.S. administration. So I think the U.S. midterm election, everybody are very much looking forward to it. I hope the U.S. citizens will give their answer due to this kind of illegal, bypassing the U.S. Congress, Senate, and meddling every institution and independence in U.S. As I said earlier, like the Donald Trump is not only curtailing the power of U.S. Congress, but he also his huge influence in the US judiciary as well, selecting the judges and also US Federal Reserve. So everything he is like doing the opposite of the interest of the American citizenry. So I think very much looking forward to the midterm election where citizens will say their voices.
Right. Excellent remarks made by Professor Rashida Lampuya. Really, I want to ask Norman Floyd Barnes as well regarding the very same issue between China, Iran and the US. The Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian said China was firmly opposed to what it called illegal unilateral sanctions and would take all necessary measures to safeguard its right. Of course, Lin, said that cooperation between China and Iran has always been conducted within the framework of international law and should not be interrupted, if not with or disrupted. I want to ask Norman, really the conversation between China, this is definitely drawing China out of its stance. China never draws the first blow. It always deals in a very defensive posture. Yes. But this time around, China has been called out. Scott Bessent definitely did not mention China, but of course said that China would not be exempt from this kind of action. Norman, how you see the rhetoric spinning up? There will be more on this issue in regards to Russia later, but first with China, how you see China's position as the Scott Bessent has released this new sanctions? Norman.
Well, you talked about it. You questioned. You actually hit right on the point. China position is that this tariff war, this tariff, this thing that is happening is illegal. So, being in that terms, they feel that this is not following international law, and the United States don't have the legal right to do this. So, in turn, China is not going to recognize it. They're not going to basically let's say, worry about what the U.S. does. They're going to continue to do what they're doing. So we're looking at a workaround. We're looking at China just mentioned that the Treasury now have a excessive amount of stockpile of gold. So what that means to me is that there is now a response. Like we mentioned before, China's not going to do the first blow, but they're going to respond and ensure that you will not have a chance to do the second blow. So what's going on now? This economic tariffs and this economic war that we're going through is a transition period. So I suspect that a new form of currency will evolve from this. People will be using alternative to the petrodollar. There will be trade deals done. There will be alternative routes done, around the northern part of the world. There will be alternatives. As China mentioned, we are the alternative, where the alternative is that we don't have to follow the traditional ways going on, and we definitely not going to be bullied and threatened to do things. So we come too far to deal with that type of situation. Bully, you bomb, you bully, you bomb, and we change your mind. No, that's not going to happen. You're seeing what's happening in Iran. Iran is backed by this thought. So Iran is making very pronounced. Their posture has changed basically now, saying we're going to go on the aggressive. We're going to be on the offensive. Well, where do you think that's coming from? They're getting support from somebody else. Where they're coming from, I can tell you, it's coming from the far west, the far east, Russia, China, Korea, other places going on. And there's some people, some deals are being made. There's conversations already made about the next phase. We're moving into the next phase. So the United States is not going to allow us to do this, but we still have to have our goods, services, energy, and whatever. So they can't stop. The United States can't stop the world from moving and what's going on. And they definitely will not be able to stop people from making deals, transactional trade and commerce. They will find another way. The US dollar is not the only way you can buy things. We may think so. We believe that our way is the only way. Well, I can tell you it is not. It's not going to be that way. And there's going to be changes coming, and there's going to be movement. And the movement is going to be more of a, hey, now let's look at the alternative. Since they don't want you to work with them. They don't want you to work with me. So I'm going to work with myself. I'm going to find ways that I'm going to make countries have to decide to make changes now and do things what's best for them. Being on the side of Americans, being on the side of Iranians is not the answer. The only thing is right now, because we know you're not going to get help from the United States and you're not going to get any type of concession from Iran. So it's best to go about yourself if you want to survive. So right now we're in a survival thing. We're going to transition. It's going to be a period of hardship, a period of pain and suffering, but a transition is about to take place. And that means the world order has shifted and it's going to move towards a interaction between countries instead of working a certain group or a certain regime or a certain Western type of support, because the support is not there. It is obviously one of the things that exposed the situation with Iran and the Strait is that the United States and its allies do not have the ability to stop anything. They can prolong it, they can progress it, they can threaten whatever, and they can slow it down. They even can mitigate it a while. But change has to happen because people have to live, countries have to survive, and their goods and services has to move. So
Right.
let's see how this thing plays out. But right now, we are in a transitional period of time. There'll be alternatives. As the Chinese say, we are the alternatives. So right now, they're sitting back looking at the situation. And this is a very calculated sale. We talked about them and they had the parade change. So now we're seeing the results of that, the alternatives. They haven't
Right.
fired one shot.
Right. Excellent remarks made from Norman
Go.
Flood Barnes, especially in regards to China. But I also want to ask you another question before I can come back to the studio. Let me read out the story. The CIA Director John Ratcliffe had made a rare, unannounced secret visit to Moscow, Russia yesterday, and the trip would mark the first publicly known trip to Moscow by the CIA Director since taking office. Of course, he traveled on a U.S. Air Force Boeing C-17 Globemaster transport airplane flying from Joint Base Andrews in Maryland all the way to Latvia, landing in Moscow's Vukovo airport. So definitely he spent 4 hours in Russia, but he had notified Ukrainian delegation to temporarily suspend drone and long-range strikes on Moscow. So my question to you, Norman, where Ukraine was seen not receiving those high-end, much more powerful intercontinental ballistic missiles, according to a Pentagon report. However, we see the CIA director in Moscow, apparently, as according to various news agencies, it is because Russia has plans on attacking NATO sometime in this winter season that is among us. Just a comment from you. The CIA director being there in Moscow, it can be seen in the past as well. The CIA director William Burns had a secret trip to Moscow in 2021 as well. I want to get a remark from you, Norman. How do you see this?
Yes, that visit was based on the CIA director was a messenger, basically from the administration. He had a very uh, deliberate and a very scripted message to give to Russia. It was so important that he had to make a personal visit to relay this message. So what we're seeing is a part of the transition. We're looking at different fractional things going on, but everything that's happening in the world in terms of conflict right now evolves around one single point. One single point. And so what we don't know is what that point is, but it's all coming together now. This is the first time a sitting intelligence director has made a visit to Mother Russia. He was welcomed there. They had discussions, and obviously there was a agreement made, a plan made. So we will see, watch what's happening, watch the temperature, watch the amount of activity that goes on in terms of the area of Ukraine, Europe,
Right.
NATO, and more importantly, let's watch what's happening in the South China area.
Right.
Something is about to take place, and something We have these things going on. We have the election in Israel. We have election in the United States. And now we have our CIA director meeting with Russia. What is going on?
Right. Really excellent statements from Norman Floyd Barnes, especially in regards to this recent visit by John Ratcliffe. Let me just give for perspective, the last time William Burns, the predecessor of Ratcliffe, that visited in Russia in November of 2021, only 3 months after the Russia-Ukraine war was launched. Just after 3 months, last time in 2021. So coming to the studio with Associate Professor Rashid Alam, how you see this, because it is very dangerous that the media has been not involved in this kind of visit, of course, to maintain the intelligence, maintain the secrecy. The CIA declined to comment. The Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov neither confirmed nor denied the report, telling the news agency Reuters that President Vladimir Putin did not plan to have a meeting with Ratcliffe. The war lingering on 4.5 years, the U.S. sending its CIA director. How you feel about it?
I think this is measures, or this is an initiative from the U.S. to, I think, stopping Russia to further arming the armament of Iran. That could be the one issue. So they're probably convincing Putin not to give any further arsenal to Iran at the cost of they will not supporting Ukraine. So that could be one of the, I don't know, the de-escalation or effort. So at the cost of, US are not going to supporting Ukraine anymore, and they want Russia not to support Iran. So that's probably one of the reason, could be, I don't know. And another probably reason is US also doesn't that much depend on his European allies anymore. So as our international correspondent said, that who is your ally, who is your enemy, everything is broken up.
It's blurry.
It's blurry, and a rule-based international order is in a complete disarray. Everything has broken up, particularly after Trump came into power. He is not only attacked Venezuela, he also attacked, he wanted to take over Greenland, he wanted to putting pressure on Spain by mass channeling of the illegal migrants. So everything has been messed up by this US administration. So I think this is this could be a complete distrust US is having from its European partners. They might be giving an upper hand to Putin at the cost of Putin less support for Iran. That could be one of the explanation for that, but I don't know. That could be that. Since it is intelligence, we haven't seen the development yet. Yeah.
Of course, really wonderful statements coming from Rashid Alam Bhuiya. Let me finish this segment on international affairs by stating that Ukrainian intelligence assessment stated that in April, Russia had aided Iran with satellite imagery for use in targeting US facilities in the Middle East. As well, Moscow had denied providing such assistance and said it is ready to help resolve the US-Iran conflict back in the month of April. It is time to take a short commercial break. I request our audience to stay tuned for more on this very program.
Played on SATV screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
they will face better projects.
With presidency of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
Simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantho.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan
Opening an open war conflict with them.
testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing.
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this. Welcoming all our viewers back onto the last segment of International Affairs. We have definitely talked about a lot of the geopolitics of the arena and the situation around the world. However, the natural causes that we see from all around the world has no deadline, has no ceasefire, has definitely no agreements. It works on its timeline of its own. And as per the recent reports, we see that there has been intense wildfire spreading across Indonesia, which has been trying to fight the fire. According to firefighters over there, South Sumatra current has the highest number of wildfire hotspots in Indonesia, with over 1,500 detected by the Environment Ministry satellites in that nation as well. The country has been battered with earthquakes as of recent. Just to get a comment from Rashid Alambuya, how you see this? The leaders of various nations remain silent while they see such detriment involving their communities. How you would value this?
Yeah, so very unfortunate that the world leaders are very much busy with the armed conflict. So all the armed conflict, we have so much of war in different parts of the world, but at the same time, the world is having enormous climatic and environmental stresses. And we do not have that much of emphasis or that much of argument from the world leaders to keep our focus on this fighting with this unconventional or non-traditional security threats, existential threat that human beings are experiencing. So as you said, like although this kind of catastrophic earthquake in different parts of the world, we haven't seen that much of effort from the UN to generate fund, to generate this, to generate some emergency economic support to this nation, rather than world leaders is very much busy with the traditional security threats that we are having. So I think putting more resources for coping with this or fighting this kind of environmental catastrophe is more important rather than wasting our important resources for war and arsenal. So that is what I want to say. So I know all the countries like Indonesia, they are having, and Spain, Italy, they are having, Australia, they have enormous wildfire all over the region. So and now Indonesia is having as well. So I think this is the most important existential, reducing the CO2 emission, reducing the average temperature to 1.5 degree, minus 1.5 degree. That's really important. Otherwise, we might see this kind of incidents more and more, and our countries might experience further flood, further sea level rises, and further displacement. So I think Bangladesh might not stop just listening or seeing this incident. They might need their own preparation, like bringing the capacity of the emergency operation, like civil defense forces, so that when this kind of unprecedented flood, earthquake happen in our country, we do not have any much more preparation to deal with these issues.
Right,
it's coming.
Stark contrast between Indonesia and the unpreparedness here in Bangladesh. I just want to have another question when it comes to Bangladesh. In recent times, we're seeing that the nationality of the state minister for Foreign Affairs, Humayun Kabir, is coming to the controversy in which the law minister says that there is no legal violation. Just how you feel about it? Someone with dual currency, dual citizenship is in charge of ministerial duties. And of course, the foreign ministry this time around has two state ministers in this office. So how you feel about it?
So this is completely unconstitutional. As I said, although the law minister tried to backing his fellow colleague, but I think this is, everybody knows it is totally unconstitutional measures. If they want to do this precedence, if they wanted to bring in the foreign national into as a minister or helm of the international, those important positions, they should I mean, they should actually review the constitution and change the constitution before they started doing this. Otherwise, you know, earlier time in the last 17 years, we have seen lots of precedences of this kind of unconstitutional measures. So this is new government which come into power after just 17 years of fascist regime. They heavily criticized this when they were in the opposition party, but bringing a political party in power, they are starting doing the same thing. So rather than I think they should be critical of what they're doing, and as you said, to a state minister is a complete waste of national resources. I think the number of minister and a state minister we are having in this current government is, I think, record in terms of numbers. So that is also again giving undue privileges to lots of party men who actually unable to produce any, any output. We are shortage of gases, we are shortage of electricity, we are having
industries going down.
Yeah, industries are going down. And why on earth they are appointing new person as a minister, a state minister, who are going to pay these people when your economy is shrinking down? So I think government came into power with lot of expectation. They raise our expectation, but they are taking us in opposite direction. Like we are really skeptical what's going to happen if this continuous energy crisis going on in the country. We know lots of people going to lose their job, and how are you going to manage the affairs of the country? How are you going to pay these people?
And definitely unemployment and the law and order situation go hand in hand.
Very much. Also, that is very much an emergency situation. We need the emergency cover up, and also improving the situation is very important. You know, 600 people died in just couple of months. So every day 6 to 7 people is getting killed. What is the status of the law and order in the country? You earlier give all the fault to the interim government. Now you came into the power. You said you have a political mandate, but what you are doing for the people? This is completely unexpected.
Very, very important questions raised by Professor Rashid Alam Bhuiya. Excellent statements coming from you on various worldly issues. I thank you for your attendance on our program International Affairs. I also thank Norman Floyd Barnes for joining all the way from Washington, D.C. I want to end on a historical fact. Today is, of course, August the 26th. In 1920, the 19th Amendment in the United States Constitution was certified, granting American women the right to vote. It is also known as Women's Equality Day. With that being stated, I'm signing off on International Affairs. I will be with you all on tomorrow's program.